Hello everyone. Today we will discuss another topic under environmental studies and environmental laws. Today we will discuss about the authorities which are established under the Wildlife Protection Act 1972, and we will also discuss about the Wildlife Protection Act. The list of topics to be covered here is the introduction. We will discuss about Wildlife Protection Act 1972, salient features of the Act, authorities established under Act, composition of such authorities, powers and functions of such authorities. The Indian Parliament enacted the Wildlife Protection Act in 1972, which provides for the safeguard and protection of the wildlife, flora and fauna in the country. This is an important legislation and forms an integral part of the environment and ecology. This act provides for the protection of country's wild animals, birds and plant species in order to ensure environmental and ecological securities. Among other things, the act lays down restrictions on hunting many animal species. Silent features of the Act. This Act provides for the protection of a listed species of animals, birds, and plants, and also for the establishment of a network of ecologically important protected areas in the country. The Act provides for the formation of wildlife advisory boards, wildlife wardens, species, specifies their powers and duties, etc. It helped India become a party to the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora, which is also referred as CITES. For the first time, a comprehensive list of endangered wildlife of the country was prepared. The Act prohibited the hunting of endangered species. Scheduled animals are prohibited from being traded as per the Act's provision. This Act provides for licenses for the sale, transfer, and possession of some wildlife species. It provides for the establishment of wildlife sanctuaries, national parks, etc. Its provision paved the way for the formation of Central Zoo Authority. This central body responsible for the oversight of zoos in India. It was established in 1992. The Act created six schedules which gave varying degrees of protection to classes of flora and fauna. Schedule 1 and Schedule 2 in the Part 2 of the Act get absolute protection, and offences under these schedules attract the maximum penalties. The schedules also include species which may be hunted. Now let's discuss the authorities. There are several authorities established under this Act. Some of them are National Board for Wildlife, State Board for Wildlife, National Tiger Conservation Authority, Standing Committee of National Board, and other authorities. National Board for Wildlife. The National Board for Wildlife was constituted as a statutory organization under the provision of this Act. This is an advisory board that offers advice to the central government on the issue of wildlife conservation in India. It is also the apex body to review and approve all matters related to wildlife projects of national parks, sanctuaries, etc. The chief function of the board is to promote the conservation and development of wildlife and forest. It is chaired by the Prime Minister. The minister in charge of forest and wildlife as a chairperson. Other members from different ministries and institutes related to wildlife, which includes secretary and directors of such institutes and ministries. The powers and functions of the National Board. It says that it shall be the duty of the National Board to promote the conservation and development of wildlife and forest, such measures as it thinks fit. The measures referred to may provide for framing policies and advising the central government and the state government on the ways and means of promoting wildlife conservation and effectively controlling poaching and illegal trade of wildlife and its product. Making recommendations on the setting up of and management of national parks, sanctuaries, and other protected areas, and on matters relating to restrictions of activities in those areas. Carrying out or causing to be carried, but impact assessment of various projects and activities on wildlife or its habitat. Reviewing from time to time the progress in the field of wildlife conservation in the country and suggesting measures for improvement thereto and prepare preparing and publishing a status report at least once in 2 years on wildlife in the country. State Board for Wildlife. The state government shall, within a period of 6 months from the date of commencement of Wildlife Protection Amendment Act 2002, constitute a State Board for Wildlife, consisting of the following members, which are Chairperson, Vice Chairperson, 3 members of State Legislature, 3 persons to represent non-governmental organizations, 10 persons to be nominated by state government, secretary to the state government, office in charge of state forest department and other members as required. Duties of State Board. It shall be the duty of State Board for Wildlife to advise the state government in the selection and management of areas to be declared as protected areas, in formulation of the policy for protection and conservation of wildlife and specified plants. In any matter relating to the measures to be taken for harmonizing the needs of the tribals and other dwellers of the forest with the protection and conservation of wildlife. In any other matter connected with the protection of wildlife which may be referred to it by the state government. Standing Committee. The National Board may, in its discretion, constitute a standing committee for the purpose of exercising such powers and performing such duties as may be delegated to the committee by the National Board. The Standing Committee shall consist of the Vice Chairperson, the Member Secretary, and not more than 10 members to be nominated by the Vice Chairperson from amongst the members of the National Board. National Tiger Conservation Authority. The Act also provides for the establishment of the National Tiger Conservation Authority. It is a statutory body of the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change with an overall supervisory and coordination part, performing capacities as given in the Act. It is mandate to strengthen tiger conservation in India. It gives statutory authority to Project Tiger, which was launched in 1973 and has put the endangered tiger on a guaranteed path of revival by protecting it from extinction. Other authorities: Director of Wildlife Preservation, Chief Wildlife Warden and other officers. The central government may, for the purpose of this act, may appoint any other officers or employees as may be necessary.